When it comes to return to learn or return to work, generally speaking, the flow goes like this. So I screen grabbed all the consensus statement guidelines, but generally it goes symptom limited activity, like we just talked about. Do that at home. When you can, work up to 45-minute chunks of school or work activity at home. If you can tolerate 45-minute chunks, try to work up to a half day. And when I say a half day, I mean a whole half day. So the whole half of the morning or the whole half in the evening, but not like a quarter here and a quarter there. So it's one whole half chunk. And then when you can tolerate that, you return to full days. Work accommodations really apply to physical machinery or manual labor and physical risk. So don't do them until you're cleared, and clearance is usually after you pass a Buffalo concussion treadmill test. And for kiddos, if you are not returned to school, you are not returned to sport. So here's another way to look at that. And here's another way to look at that with some of the adjustments for kids highlighted. When you're talking about return to play, again, symptom limited activity. And then in visit 2, you're going to prescribe the aerobic activity. Once they can pass the Buffalo concussion treadmill test, you can get into sport specific activities. So resistance training, more agility work, things like that. Once they pass, that's when they can actually get to non-contact practice as well. Once they pass exertion testing, they can go into full contact practice. They've got to have 1 to 3 full contacts before they return to sport. And you need at least 24 hours or more at each stage with no worsening of the symptoms. If you get any worsening of the symptoms, you're going to drop back a stage. So that's all laid out here, here, and in all 3 consensus statements since 2016, I've recommended against rest because there's insufficient evidence to recommend strict rest, and strict rest is being shown to prolong symptoms and worsen outcomes. So that's why we start with symptom limited activity. So don't flare more than 2 points, and start that symptom limited activity within 1 to 2 days, and then move into exercise testing. Here's one of the reasons we think that strict rest might be a problem is you had the initial injury, you were prescribed rest and not told to do anything. That deconditions you as an athlete, which causes symptoms. And there's mood changes, stress, anxiety related to being withdrawn from friends, from normal life. And so then you come back to the doctor and you're like, I feel all these things. And they go, well, you should rest. And so the symptoms continue to worsen and you get caught in this. The NCAA, if you're wondering how they do return to play and return to learn, they use a BRAIN acronym or the BRAIN protocol. So bike to minimize vestibular symptoms. As they start to gain tolerance, they'll run. As they can pass that stage, they'll build in kind of sport-specific agility and resistance training. Once they can pass all of that, they'll go into in yellow. So they'll wear like a penny or something that says, hey, don't hit me. I'm doing non-contact practice with the team. And then there's no restrictions, contact practice, and then you can get into the game.